Fellow travelers, welcome to the Dialogues Within. These are conversations with myself and my friends. Most important of all, these are honest conversations steeped in truth. Fellow travelers, friends, I'm blessed to have friends who have enriched my life. A lot of friends, and friends who have been a pillar of support, who have been there in times of need, with whom I have laughed, I have cried, and also with whom I have shared some secrets too. Secrets which perhaps you only share with friends. One such friend who is here with me today is Desh Deepak. Desh Deepak is my friend of last, say, 40 years. And when I first met him way back, and I found him for the first time in the library, he was reading a book, and it was a holiday, and we used to go to the college library to study, and he had a small tape recorder and he was listening to music as well as studies together. We bonded very well. In fact, I remember going to his place and we would listen to Neil Diamond songs like Song Sung Blue, Sweet Caroline, and those songs. He is actually one of the most erudite persons I've come across in life. Well read, well traveled, wise. And with all this, he's a very compassionate human being. He is my go-to man when I need advice. Deepak's life has been a life in which he has pursued excellence in whichever field he has worked in. And he wears many hats. But most important of all, he's a friend who has been with me as a pillar of support always, and whose wisdom I want to share with you all. Deepak is also a loving husband, a doting father. His wife Alpana, also a friend, is one of the brightest presence in our friend circles. Wherever she is, she really lights up the whole place. And I think she's one of the best bakers in the world. His daughter Naina, who is studied in Chicago, is working in the finance sector in a hedge fund company. And the younger one, Neha, is down under in Australia, working in a marketing company. So today my purpose of introducing you all is to one by one introduce my close friends to all of you, and whatever wisdom I have gained through them, share them, invite you to my friends. So welcome Deepak, welcome to the Dialogues Within.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being on your show.
Lovely Deepak, and I'm looking forward to picking your brains on many things like I always do whenever we keep talking late into the night. But as it is, that is what is common between us is reading. What are you reading these days?
These days I'm reading Smokes and Ashes by Amitav Ghosh. Just a few days back had finished reading Revolutionaries by Sanjeev Sanyal, and that was an eye-opener for me as far as history of India is concerned.
Oh, really?
And now Smoke and Ashes is an eye-opener on the other side, that what actually the British did to our country, especially the regions of Bengal and Bihar.
As I understand this, Amitav Ghosh had written a trilogy,
Yeah.
and this is something like a top-up on a trilogy?
No, see, when he was researching for that, all that research he did to write those three fictional books.
Yeah.
When he went through it once again, he thought that this actually tells the story of India in a very different perspective as compared to what we've been reading all our lives.
Yeah.
So what he's done is, it's not fiction; it's actual history. What happened with the opium trade in Bihar, in
Eastern UP,
and also later on in the western part of the country. But yes, it's actual history which is compiled and given to you.
Yeah, that was more of a fictionalized history, and this
This
is
is
actual
actual
history,
history,
and
right.
gives new perspective.
Yes,
It
very
gives
much.
Very much new perspective.
It's an eye-opener.
It's an eye-opener.
It's an eye-opener.
Also, I won't ask you a question further because I'll go and read
Yes,
this
sure.
book myself.
Sure.
I won't like the suspense to get out. But talking about books, what are your all-time few favorite books which you really have shaped you or you cherish a lot?
See, one book which has really, which I cherish a lot, which has really paced my life and how I take life as, has been Siddharth by Hermann Hesse. Yeah, I think I read it in class 11. My father introduced this book to me,
Lovely.
and this book really, introduced me to how you should be leading your life. And then lately, I've also had a chance to read God Talks to Arjuna, which is the Bhagavad Gita, the interpretation of Bhagavad Gita by Swami Paramahansa Yogananda.
Okay.
And that what actually is the hidden meaning of Gita. It again has had a very deep effect on the way I've started treating life now, especially when I'm moving towards spirituality at this age. I was never a spiritual guy, but as I am moving towards spirituality, that book has really had some very deep impression on my mind.
You may not have been a spiritual guy, but I'm very, very, very sure because I've seen you working. You are a very compassionate human being and you used to live life what a spiritualist lives actually. And but tell me one thing, Siddharth is one of my favorite books also. What really appealed to you in Siddharth?
So there are 2-3 things. One is when this guy is talking, when he's onto a journey from where he becomes an ascetic, then he finds this is not the way, then he goes to a prostitute, tries to learn from her experiences of life. And during one of the conversations with her where she says, what can you do? He says that, I can think, I can wait, and I can fast.
Fast.
It has a very deep meaning.
It's a very
Because if you can think, you can find solutions to anything, any problem in your life.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
if you can wait, that means patience.
Yeah.
To be able to solve some problem, you need patience, and the ability to wait is, again, gives you the time to think and find a solution to the problem. And most of all, I can fast means that, if I am hungry, if I don't have food for some number of days, that will not frustrate me.
I can do without
stay
things.
hungry and still continue to think and be patient and find a way out of any problem that I am in.
Yeah.
So that has been a mantra which has helped me to meet my issues in life wherever,
That's
that I have been patient because of what this big book taught me. I have started thinking because of what this book taught me. Fasting, of course, I've never had that chance, but yes, in case it comes to that end, maybe I can do that. Another thing which this book has is that, in his conversations with his mate, Govinda, who after they meet Buddha, leaves him and becomes a monk into the Buddhist way of life. He's talking to him and he, Govinda tells him, you abandoned me, you left me, and you went away. So he says, Govinda, my paths and your paths have been different. You were searching for something. Searching is like, you have a goal, you focus on something to search.
The rest of the things fade away.
You don't look on any other thing except for your goal, what you're searching for. I was trying to find. And that's the difference between searching and finding. Finding has a huge, it's a broad spectrum in which you do several things to find whatever you want to find. So, that
it's
also
an act of discovery, almost an act of discovery, perhaps.
Yes.
That's almost an act. Very interesting, very interesting. Siddharth has been also influence on me, and this also has been a sentence that I can think and I can wait and I can fast, has been with me also for quite some time.
Yes.
What advice would you give to youth of today?
Basically, this three sentences are the biggest advice I can give. I mean, you should. But another thing that I would like to say is that the youth should learn to live in a state of joy. I'm not saying happiness.
A state
I'm saying
of
a
joy.
state of joy, because life will have its own ups and downs. If it's up, you should still be joyful, not very happy and ecstatic about
Exactly.
that you achieved something. And life will be going down the drain also at some time.
Yeah.
That time you should not get depressed. You still be joyful. If
And one should make a effort to do that.
you have to.
You have
And I think the biggest tool that you have to remain in a state of joy is yoga and meditation.
Oh yes.
Yes. Especially meditation.
Especially
It
meditation.
teaches you to remain calm. And then another thing is, you should never let any situation overpower your willpower. So many times you see youth going in for drugs. So many times you see youth going in for taking wrong decisions, going for wrong things in life, because they don't let their willpower. They give away the will of power. Should I say willpower? And they
Squarely
give,
face.
Yes.
Squarely face whatever is
Yes.
in front of them.
Yes. And if you have a willpower, you can do it. You can come
course.
out of any situation.
Of course. I
And
agree
you
with
can, especially when you are going towards the wrong path, it's your willpower that brings you back.
Exactly.
So that is, of course,
That's
there.
interesting. So, Deepak, let me move away from the books. You are an avid traveler.
Yeah.
And both on wheels and internationally, you have traveled a lot. Share with us some of your memorable travels. How has travel really benefited you?
See, travel has always been a stress buster for me. When I was publishing and printing the magazine Competition Master, those were not the times of computer age. They were all, most of the things had to be done manually, so it used to take a lot of time. It was a monthly magazine. And even before the first issue would end, you would be working for the second issue. So I used to have only that 5 or 6 days of window in which I used to be actually free. I could find time. And generally, I saw this from I learned this from my father too. He was more busier than life than I think I was. But he would always find time to travel.
Right.
And go. He would go to Simla. He would go to some other. He would stay for 1 month. I think his first general knowledge book, he compiled it while staying in Shimla.
Okay, that's very interesting.
And then my hobby is photography. So what better way to get beautiful things to picture them, capture them in your camera
Yes.
than travel.
That's
And,
wonderful.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Let me pause here and tell one thing that Deepak also is a person who used to bring out the magazine, The Competition Master. This magazine was the one which we used to read when we were preparing for civil services. And he has been an editor, and he's also been a mentor to many other magazines which come out. Even now he keeps guiding people in the publishing world and also in the social sector. Yes, Deepak, so let's come back to these travels. What were the one or two memorable travels which you have had?
See, one memorable travel was when we did this road trip to Leh Ladakh from the
Okay.
Manali side.
Yeah.
That was such a beautiful experience, and especially that we went in a convoy of about 12 cars, and we were meeting all those people for the first time, because somebody had arranged for this sort of a travel expedition to Leh Ladakh, and we became part of it.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful landscape, and it just captivates you, and you just feel like you've achieved everything. You've gone into heaven. It was such a beautiful experience. Second very beautiful road trip which we had was in New Zealand. We traveled from north to south by car, and New Zealand is one place where within a span of 100 kilometers you come across snow-capped peaks, another 20 kilometers you are near a lake, and then the river valley, and then the sea. So you get to see all the gametes that exist on this Mother Earth in one place. That's New Zealand.
Oh, that's very
And
interesting.
within a driving distance of say about 2,000 kilometers.
And you've seen the whole of the topography changing from mountain
It changes.
to
It changes every half an hour.
Every
It would
half an
change,
hour
or
it
even every
changes.
10 minutes it would change.
changes.
Yes.
I mean, that really makes one feel that one should travel a lot. It is said one learns a lot
Oh,
when
yes.
one travels.
I remember traveling from here to Diu also once.
Okay.
And funny thing was that, every 100 kilometers, what people wore changed.
Mhm.
Their discipline on the road changed. There were certain places we found for the next 100 kilometers, you better be aware if somebody is walking on the highway, you better not think that if you honk, he'll just get down. So we experienced that.
He'll keep walking.
He'll keep walking. He'll not bother if a car is coming or a truck is coming. And then, of course, the dressing sense changed. The
Changed.
language changed,
Language.
which was
changes,
very interesting.
Yeah. But to the traveler in you, the recent catastrophe in the Himalayas, especially Himachal and Uttarakhand, it was have been very saddening. It's very
Yeah,
saddening to the
it is.
trekker in me. It's very
It is.
saddening to the person who loves the hills, How should we go about correcting this imbalance?
Yeah, Manali we used to call it as a pilgrimage. We would go every year,
Yeah.
but we haven't gone there for last so many years because of not only that, because of these landslides and other problems, but because too many people and too much of rush happening there. But as far as this sad catastrophe is concerned, I think it's man-made.
Smart.
We've seen, we've been like since 1973, almost every now and then. We used to go when we were in college. We used to take our scooters and go up to Kasauli or Dharampur. It's no longer possible. There's so much of concrete on the both sides of the road. There's so many dhabas which you don't need them to be there. It's construction, especially the Shimla road. And once you travel from, I think, Aut to Manali and even beyond, maybe now, Solang Valley.
Yeah.
It used to be such a beautiful meadow.
Solang was a very
It's a mess today. It's a mess today. And they've allowed it to be a mess. I think it's bad urban planning and greed which is causing all this.
Greed.
Greed.
I agree with you there because when I was a child in Simla, it was said that you cannot build a house where the incline is
Yes.
40 degrees or 45 degrees. And ideally 30 degrees and below you used to build a house. Now I find houses are built on 75 degrees.
And 7 stories.
And 7
8
stories. 7
Yes.
stories.
Yes.
So some way or the other we have gone haywire.
There is
in
no
our
thought
urban
going
planning.
into it. There is no scientific way to find out whether you can actually build that sort of a structure in hills or not.
Yeah. Because there's a story that Lord Curzon's time, Shimla was there for say 25,000 residents and it had shot up to be 33 or 32. And Lord Curzon was, and the whole of the administration was extremely upset that the hill might not take it. Today Shimla is 2.5 lakh.
Yes.
So how
And
will
they're
the
just
hill
building
take it?
left, right, and center. Wherever somebody has a land, he's building a building.
I love that town, but somebody described it as it's one hotel and a shop. And my heart bleeds. I feel it's a huge, huge catastrophe in waiting and we need to correct it.
Yes.
But from this onwards, Deepak, what is engaging you at present? What is that which is exciting you at present? Some work which you are doing?
See, at this stage of life, I think, I thought some years back, it's time now to give back to the society. So you've taken so much from the society. So being part of an NGO has given me a lot of, it's an exciting job, taking care of the children who can't sometimes afford a tablet worth 20 rupees. So, providing them that, providing the hospitals equipment, critical care equipment, which they had the means, but whatever bureaucratic things or whatever, they could not get at that many number of, say, ventilators or other things. So this is one area, giving back to the society. I try to be part of any such activity. I am part of it through this NGO which I am part of. I try to be part of such activity.
What's the name of the NGO?
Nanni Jaan.
Nanni Jaan.
Yeah, basically, it's Veeravali Foundation. They project Nanni Jaan of Veeravali Foundation.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of work. We did a lot of work in COVID. We supplied the Chandigarh Police, the municipal corporation, with gloves, with masks and sanitizers in thousands of liters. Although I'm not I'm one of the persons who's the mind behind it is a friend of mine.
Okay.
Who's the force behind this, Dr. Sandeep Chatwal. But yes, we are part of that team and we are proud of it. And then try to be, whether you are part of a yoga, where I go for my meditations. They are into doing social work also. Try to be part there also. Then last 5 years, I think one thing that I've learned is I started delving into a little bit of stock and option trading.
Oh, really?
Which was completely alien to me. I hadn't bought a mutual fund till 10 years back. I mean,
being a businessman, you didn't have that. I thought you must have.
My father always said, पैसा आया है, machine ले आओ. इधर-उधर नहीं invest करो.
In fact, that's one area where I'd like to learn from you. I intend delving into this area, understanding it just for the skill. I feel it will give you a new insights into economy also if you really study hard and do it.
Actually, I do it only to know the economy, know the pulse of the market. I don't do to make money as far as trading is concerned.
Yeah.
It's just pocket money and something like that, very small scale. And it helps me to take care of my investments in shares and in mutual funds and other investment instruments. It helps me to, book profits at the right time, go back in again. So I'm not a passive investor.
No,
I'm an active investor.
Active investor.
Yeah. So last 14 years, I have been into investing and making money for myself only.
Okay.
But through investing, trading was just a little part of it, just to remain in touch, because that's the only way you can be in touch with the market.
Exactly, and that give you a lot what is happening in the market and cascadingly in the economy, and how the decisions, various governance decisions or corporate decisions are impacting the market. That would be a nice area to intellectually explore. And since your own money is there, perhaps you'll be a little more cautious in understanding. But trading has become so easy because now it's all online and all that.
It's become so easy. When I started it, I didn't even have access to a proper graph.
Exactly.
Now you have graphs with so many indicators on that.
But this is, of the information technology, social media, this is one of the good examples. Trading has become so easy. But social media is also taken as a bane. Do you think it's a bane or a boon?
Well, any invention of a man or a human beings has its positives and negatives. I mean, even when they invented a stick, they could use it to kill an animal or kill the fellow besides you. And recently saw this movie Oppenheimer. And he was working on the technology. He was working to find out if we can have a nuclear fusion and generate electricity or do something else with it.
But
and it ended up as a bomb. So social media also, I think, has the same falls in the same category. You can use it for good. Social media has been such a big advantage. I mean, 10-15 years back, when we had completed 25 years of leaving school, and we were not in touch with almost 80% of the boys who were in our class. And it was social media which brought all of us together. And you could manage to locate and find and get in touch with certain friends whom you hadn't met for 25 years. Good 25 years.
Exactly.
But then on the other side, social media has its negatives. One has to be aware of that. When you're using the social media, use it for positive usage should be there. You should be aware that you should not allow the social media to rule your mind and rule your mind, especially in matters of social and political issues.
That's true. It is the capacity of sharpening, deepening the fault lines. One has to be very careful.
One has to be careful. Why not? I mean, even when you drive a car, you have to be careful. So why give so much of leverage to social media?
To social media. I agree with you. That's a very good example. When you're driving, you have to be very careful. So that's very interesting. But with the coming of the onset of AI, do you think AI will take away jobs? Are you worried about it? What is the future of youth in this context?
See, AI, I think, will certainly take away a lot of jobs. Definitely will take away. So did when the computer age came. So did when the power looms came.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs were lost. One has to be aware that new technologies, new tools are going to be coming every now and then, and you have to train or retrain yourself to be using the new tools or be part of a system in which you are not redundant. So you have to retrain yourself. If you sit down and say कि मेरे को तो यही आता है करना, बस मैं यही करूँगा, और ये नहीं है तो मैं गया, मेरी लाइफ खत्म. So that is not possible.
Upskilling is
Yes.
very, very
And AI will have its, like social media, it will have a lot of negativity attached to it also.
Yeah,
So one
it
has to
will have.
much more.
Much more.
Much more.
Much more. That's so. If a youngster comes up to you and asks for advice how to navigate life, what would you advise him or her?
Yeah, I think we've already covered that. That balanced life, remain in a state of joy, don't be over ambitious, do your work, as Gita says, in Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita, that karam karo, फल की इच्छा नहीं कर. So a lot of people feel कि अगर फल ही नहीं है तो कर्म क्यों करूं? But कर्म करो in the sense कि what the job assigned to you, do it. Result, if you will start thinking about the result, you will not be able to do the job properly. That is the deeper meaning of that shlok.
Right.
So you got to work in whatever capacity you have come to work, or whatever responsibilities have been given to you.
Yeah.
See, me as a publisher, you as a police officer. I mean, we worked. We did not feel कि अब मैं ये करूँगा तो इसके बाद मेरी मैगजीन 2 बिकेगी कि 10 बिकेगी. मेरे को बनानी है, मैंने बना दी. And that's the philosophy with which my father also used to go. He says, I'll just keep on making a good product. If it is liked, it will sell. If it doesn't like, I will stop. I will make
but
something
I'll have
else.
the satisfaction of making a good product at least.
Yes.
And if it sells, there's money on that.
Yes, and I think most of the youth, they become too ambitious at too young an age. They don't give themselves time to achieve certain goals, set very difficult goals for themselves. So don't do that. Let life take its own pace and just go for it. Just keep doing it. Success will automatically come. Coming back to that Siddhartha thing, searching and finding. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Do you still listen to music?
Oh yes.
What are you listening these days? Neil Diamond. I still listen to Neil Diamond sometimes.
Oh, Neil Diamond, Carpenters, and ABBA. They've been our favorites since school. So there are times and days when I'm just listening to these songs. Then there are some days when I'm just listening to Kishore Kumar and Mohammed Rafi. And lately have started, got myself a karaoke mic and a speaker. And I have started singing with them also.
Along with them also. Oh, that's very interesting. Any favorite travel songs when you drive your car or something?
We've always had a travel song. When we went for the first time in 1985 in a Maruti van, we went did Laul Spiti.
Okay.
And,
in Maruti van.
In a Maruti van, and we had that our favorite. The trip song was that आज फिर तुम पे प्यार आया है. उस दिनों में आया था वो गाना, ठीक है. One of our Manali trips with children, and those Love 86 songs of Govinda, and they were our
I guess everyone, travelers have their set of songs, and I think those songs in later stage do trigger the memory of that visit.
Whenever these songs are coming on or you're listening to them, your mind goes
back. That association goes back.
फिर वो कौन सी मूवी आई थी, आप तो ऐसे ना थे या something like that. तो इस तरह से मेरी जिंदगी में शामिल है.
Oh yes.
So that song became for couple of years our travel song. So whenever that song also comes in, my mind goes into those meadows and those tall trees of the higher mountains where we were traveling. So yes.
Yes, it does. Let me ask you something different. In the sense, between trust and love, what do you give more importance to? What's more important, trust or love?
I personally feel trust. If there's trust, love will automatically come. But if there is love but no trust from the other side, what's the meaning of loving?
That'll be so just a emotional
Yes,
thing.
what's the meaning of
Emotional
loving?
But
The-
trust has many shades also.
Definitely. I mean, there are so many aspects to trust. You trust a mechanic to, repair your fan. That's a very different trust, basic trust.
Yeah.
Okay, I trust him. Okay, I can take a risk.
Yeah.
Then there's a trust in relationships,
Yeah.
which has a very deeper meaning.
Deeper
and
meaning.
it can spoil the entire. जितने भी इतने सालों की मेहनत लोग खराब कर देते हैं
Yes.
by just one mistake
With this
of
one
breaking the
mistake.
trust.
Yeah.
So trust is also what a child puts into you as a father. When you throw him up, he knows you are going to catch
He
him.
knows you'll catch him. Yeah. That's also
And
true.
then trust. I remember that once you told me that story of being
In the pool.
going after certain criminals in Bihar,
Oh yes,
and,
yes.
and suddenly you found nobody was behind you.
Yes.
And the first thought that came into your mind was that whether he's going to shoot me or he's going to shoot me.
Exactly.
So that was a failure of trust in your own men, maybe
Yes,
at some
yes,
stage.
Yes.
So that trust as a officer of
Yes.
a
Yes.
armed force,
Yes.
you are trusting your
Men.
men.
Yes.
And without that trust, you can't be fighting.
You can't be fighting. That's absolutely.
So that's another
Uh,
trust. So
yes,
trust is
yes.
important.
Trust is important. Very interesting, Deepak. We have today with Deepak covered a very wide spectrum of thoughts, picked his brains. But I find the nuggets of wisdom which have come out in this short conversation is, of course, the Herman Hesse's book's quote, I can think, I can wait, and I can fast. In any situation in our lives, with these three short sentences, we can handle it. Besides this, very beautifully Deepak told us the difference between searching and finding. Searching is too focused in activity, whereas finding is a way of discovery, a life of wonder and wander. And that perhaps in the process of finding, you grow and you enrich yourself tremendously. Another thing which he said was about travel, how travel changes, the diversity one encounters, and finding and traveling go hand in hand.
Definitely.
They go hand in hand.
Yep.
And besides this, what I also found in his in this conversation was a message to youth that build your life brick by brick. Don't be in a hurry to build it. With these gems, I'm sure a lot of people who hear these words of Deepak would be inspired. Thank you, Deepak, for being here with us and with the dialogues within.
It was a pleasure. It
Thank
was
you.
indeed a very big pleasure.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.